it's awesome working on vehicles with your 14-year-old son, but sometimes you have to be careful because when you ask him to do things like chock the tires, he sometimes takes you a little more literal than one would want. He's a good listener, I guess. One of the most important tools on any of these jobs is coffee. Don't spill it. I'm just bonking these loose with a ratchet, and then I'm able to pretty much get them out by hand, so that's really nice. Last time these got done, they probably replaced the hardware. I don't think that's original hardware. I'd be hard pressed to believe that. Wrong hole. Side.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
And again, we're just tying those up so that the weight of the caliper doesn't damage that hose.
There you go. Kind of wiggle, jiggle, tappy, tappy. There you go. There's a lot of crap in there.
That pad still had, was in really good shape. This is the outside pad of the driver's side. And then again, this one had a little bit more, but again, the leading edge on here is worn down more than the top edge, and it's starting to flake. So this is the flaking they were probably noticing. You can kind of see the pad right here is starting to flake a little bit, but so this pad here is not the greatest. It's still got a little bit of life left, but we're going to replace it. Yeah, on the leading edge, because if you think of how your tires going around like this, it's going to wear more aggressively on your lower part of your pad than your upper part. So I don't know if you can see it here, but the lower edge is a little bit less meat to it than the upper side. So it's good that we're doing what we're doing. The front pad was in a lot better shape. We even got the wear groove still in there. There's a little bit of life left in there. So at this point, you'd be asking yourself, well, let's go get the brake pads. Well, I'm not going to do that first because I want to compress these calipers and make sure that the pistons in the calipers compress. Because if they don't compress and I have a caliper issue, I'd be going right back to the parts store. Good thing I have Mr. Dude with a face. He always slows me down and keeps me in tune. Sometimes I just drink too much coffee and go, go, go. But he reminded me that we need to just remove the cap off the master cylinder, just to give it a little bit of breathing room.
And also watch it, because brake fluid's been topped off, so it's gonna fill this up, and if you're not watching it, it could
potentially. So, But yeah, we're going to do that before we compress the caliper pistons. Okay, we're just going to gently start going back, running these pistons in, because when you go to get your new brake shoe on here, your pads are gonna be thicker than your old pads. So that's why you push back these plungers, is to make room for the new thicker pads. What do you mean at once?
Wait. There's not really.
And there you go. I've compressed the pistons back. They went back just fine. They agreed with me. They didn't give me a hard time. So I'm happy about that. The seals still look nice and supple around that caliper. So I'm really happy about that. The rotor is not in, it's rusty around the edges, but there's no ribbing, or grooves like a record player. When I drive down the road and I hit my brakes, I don't feel any pulsating. So we're going to give this rotor and caliper on this side, we're going to give it one more tour, and we'll give it a new set of pads. So there you go. It's all compressed back. Now we got room for the new pads.
It has added about a 1/4 inch fluid to the master cylinder, so it has pushed some back.
So we're grabbing up my Hornady calipers. We're just going to measure the thickness of the rotors. Online it says 1.10 is the specifications for minimum thickness of the rotor.
So inches?
Yeah, we're going to do inches.
Yeah.
So if you're kind of curious on the thickness of your rotor, it just needs to be a minimum of 1.10. This is the driver's side
Caliper. Rotor, and it's 1.1532, whatever the caliper decides.
So we're good there at 1.15. Now we'll go over to the passenger side, and we'll get a measurement here as well.
Now I have to angulate. You can't see, but it's 1.158 ish.
So 1.15. So 1.15 on 1.15 on one side, 1.16 on another side. So our rotors are plenty thick. I don't know what the run out is on it. I don't have a machine to do that, but where they're rear brakes, I'm satisfied with what we have right now.
Oh, it's even got like a flugelhorn on it. Oh, the seat gone.